Welcome back to the Robot Fighting League. We've got Mercury running straight down the middle in an attempt to get the 2 points stacked on point number 5. But the Hound has predicted every single move he was going to take, and now the Hound has his choices. Can he choose to push the robot down the pit, or is he just going to fire continuously straight forward in an attempt to kill off Mercury? Because Mercury only needs 2 hits to die. Volt is currently our leader, and after pushing poor Reaper down the pit on the last turn, he's got his own set of choices to make. Is he just going to try and camp point 5? Is he actually going to try and take it for the win because he's got 3 victory points? Or is he just going to hang back and wait and see what happens next? Because you never know what'll happen in a good game of Volt, and neither did poor Reaper, having been pushed down the pit. So is Reaper going to try and take some well-deserved revenge, or is he going to try and go for those victory points and make himself the new front-running target? If this sounds even remotely exciting to you, welcome to Volt. This is a 4-player robot programming game by Emerson Matsuuchi, a name I've been hearing a lot recently, and I'm going to have to try and get a few more of his games. And this is a robot programming game using dice. But before we get into that, I like themes in board games, and I like the little touches that they do to help you sell you on that theme even more. And this game is great at it. Whether it be these lovely little columns they've got going on here that not only serve as like a reminder, you can barely see it at that angle, but as a reminder to how priority works, it adds a great 3D feeling to the board and helps it feel like more like a Colosseum more than anything else, but actually helps out with some of the gameplay mechanics. Or even just doing things like having the board being set in the bottom of the box and putting advertisements on the bottom of the box to help out with that, whether it be Max Drift, Angry Wheels for Angry People. It's so well done, even down to having like the back of the shields have all the schematics for the robots in question. It's super well done. I love the way that they've handled this theme, and it just gives the game that atmosphere that well, it's a robot fighting game. You hope it has atmosphere, and it feels high tech, but at the same time it feels really dirty. And even then, they've done a great job with the miniatures. They look gorgeous, they have great silhouetting, and they've just been really well done. And if I was even remotely good at painting miniatures, maybe I would give this game and painting its miniatures a go. But I don't think I will, just because I'm not very good painting. So anyway, let's get to talking about the game. It's all about dice programming, and I've laid out an example here. So, you've got 2 dice to work with every particular player. 2 attack and 2 move. This is great because every game takes place over 3 rounds, and that means you've got some choices to make about when you shoot and when you move. You can't just stand there and just constantly shoot, because that won't help anyone. You just can't be constantly moving around the board. You have to stop at some point, which I really do appreciate. And you don't roll dice in this game, you place them down on the number that you want to use, and this comes into effect when the priority happens. So you've got, in this example for Volt here, you have him moving forward 1 space, left 1 space, and then shooting straight up. You can move in the 4 regular directions, up, down, left, right, and you can shoot in any of the 8 diagonals. So as a result of this, he'll be moving up, and then shooting straight. But the way the priority works makes this interesting, because if you want to move at a higher speed, you'll need to make it so that you move slower. But someone might decide to come in and get a good shot on you, or someone might decide to block your path and make things just that little bit more annoying for you. Or you might just want to get out of the way of something that you know is coming. So, say for example that someone's got a specific module, we'll talk about that, which causes a huge area of effect bit of damage there. You might want to choose to avoid that entirely and then see if you can get a shot in on anyone who's already been damaged. There are so many ways to work around such a simple system. And so as a result, the way this works is that he's actually put down a 6 for the shooting dice here. So he moves up really quickly, but then stays there and shoots straight forward as soon as everyone else has taken their turns. So he'll be waiting for someone to hop onto that point and then shooting them. It's a really clever way to handle the strategy. And that's basically just how it works for the base game. Every robot has 3 health. They get up to 3 victory points and they win. The games are often quite quick and it's good for teaching people. But where it really stands out is the real-time aspect. Because this whole thing about putting your dice down behind the cover and then choosing your strategies and pointing them down and then revealing them, you have to go and pull this off in order to say that you're done. Which is really damn clever, because not only does this break tie breaks, but it adds another layer of extra strategy onto it, because you might decide that you need to be the first one to move in every single aspect, because, like, say, someone's right there, like, let's just say Mercury is here, and he's on 2 damage, so 1 more damage will kill him and get you a victory point. You want to hit him as fast as humanly possible, so you slam down all your dice and grab one. Or, you decide that you think, oh, everybody's going to take more time than me. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to use number 4. I'm going to go as slow as possible and take my time figuring this out. It's just strategy layers on top of strategy layers on top of strategy layers. It's very well done. It's incredibly tense because you never know if someone grabbing that number 1 is going to be the thing they need to beat you, or if you're going to be moving just faster than them by just putting down nothing but 1s. It makes things just so tense. And it works really well as a concept. And we haven't even gone into the really cool side of things yet. But I'll just explain the rest of the basic rules before we move on. So yeah, 3 damage, they die. You respawn on the arrows on the outside. And at the end of every turn, you pick up one of these tokens from the victory point pile and you put it down here on their relative number. So you know where the next target is going to be. Although people might just choose to ignore it and shoot each other instead, because shooting at other robots is worth victory points. So it might be worth the effort to just go on a robot killing rampage. You never know. And as a result, there's enough strategy here to make this feel really good when you get just the right amount of movement and shooting off in order to, say, kill 2 robots in 1 turn. Or you predict where someone is going to be standing, so you just use like a move 3 dice and dump him straight into the pit and kill him and get the victory point for doing that. And there's a bunch of different maps as well, which really help add to the strategy. So just to use an example here, there's another one on the bottom of this side of this arena, which is all the victory points are clumped really close together, but there's a pit all around the outside, so pushing becomes really valuable. Or if I can just reach around here, please don't mind the dressing gown, it's really bloody cold today. You've got this map here, which has got a bunch of damage around the points. Or you've got a ton of walls all over the place, which will really be just restricting where you can move. And as a result, there's just so much strategy to be had. There are so many little things you can do, and it feels just right when you manage to get just the right amount of programming off. And then you move up to the real game with the modules. The modules make everything better. So, at the start of the regular kind of game, you pick 2 of these 3 modules from any of the individual decks. Red is usually focused on offense, yellow is usually focused on utility, and blue is usually focused on defense or utility. And as a result, things get really cool. So, let's just say I want to use a remote control. This is just the one off the top of the bloody deck, or the bottom of the bloody deck. Instead of firing, move 1 dice on hit robot's controller to another legal key. So imagine if someone got the shot on Volt first, because Volt wanted to say, like, move forward 2 spaces. Right? Let's say you wanted to move forward 2 spaces, but someone shot at him first by using a priority 1 shot and they managed to hit him. They can move that 2 to the side and make him fall down the pit. Or they can, let's see, they can put down a mine and make it so that, hey, if you want to go anywhere near those 2 points, it'll explode and it'll hurt you. It'll hurt you really badly. Or you can use the rotary head. You can move the fire key 1 or 2 directions, clockwise or anti-clockwise, in order to fire a shot that you've missed. So imagine if Volt decided to shoot forward first, but nobody shoot forward late, but nobody decided to. The Hound stayed there. Whoop! I am now shooting top right. Every single one of these modules is really useful, and it actually fixes a slight problem that the base regular game has with no modules, because here's the thing. Like, say for example, you've got this dice here. What's the difference between a number 1 and a number 6? Because with movement, at least you can say that you're moving. But with number 1 and number 6, it's either late or early for the most part.
There's no point in going 2, 3, 4, or 5, because if you want to be fast, you'll just go 1. If you want to be slow, you'll just go 6.
This fixes things. So to use the rotary head, you need to have between a 3 and a 6. So you need to decide to actively shoot later in order to use that ability effectively. Or with mines, where you do actually need to move slightly later than number 1. Whoops, I just sent those cards flying off to the side. And this applies to other things as well, like for example, where is it? Where have we got? The steering nozzle. If you willingly sacrifice your move speed, you can move diagonally, and you can push diagonally. All of these modules are useful as well. That's the thing. There are no not useful modules in this game. Admittedly, some are more useful than others. Like, there's a couple of really cheeky ones in here, like RAM expansion, which lets you put 2 dice on 1 round, and then choose which one to use when the time comes. Or the telescopic arm, which lets you reach a space away and activate something like that. You can only have 2 modules equipped at a time, so you can only have like a blue one on the left and then a red one on the right, or you can have a yellow one on either side. So it means that you are quite limited, but everyone gets 2 modules at the start. So everyone can immediately see what their strategy is going to be, and that's not like it's the only modules you can get. Every time you die by the hand of another robot, you can pick up another module. And every time you land on one of the repair squares, which usually just repairs you to full health, you can also take another module. And considering that the regular games go to 5 victory points, there's always going to be just a little bit of time to get onto that repair spot and get yourself another module or 2. And as a result, it works great, because you've always got options. You've always got something that's useful. Like even pushing with the saw blade, it does a lot of damage if you can manage to make it happen. So it might just be worth the effort to just charge someone down and just push them as hard as humanly possible in order to get that 2 damage on, because that's half a kill. That's over half a kill. It's incredibly useful. Or even just some of the less useful ones. There's one here, someone like, even just like Anchor, which just prevents you from being pushed. Not great in some situations, but let's just say that you want to be on point 4, and someone just comes along and tries to push you into this pit here. They can't do it, because you can just push yourself 1 or 2 few spaces fewer. So there is always going to be use for every single module you get, and you can easily form strategies around them. None of them are useless. So even this being like the one really luck-based element of this game, you're still not going to get 2 modules that are absolutely worthless. And so that just fixes up a bunch of the just one of the major holes that the regular game has about weapon priority and, well, just movement priority, really. And as a result, the entire game just goes from good in the base level to great. Because when everyone's got their own modules and they're all working their own strategies, it just becomes chaotic. Like, you've got the Hound, he might have grenades which cause an explosion around here, but someone's got teleports, so they can just get the hell out of the way. And then someone else has got saw blades, so whoever just teleported there is gonna be really annoying with Volt, because Volt is just gonna choose to roll straight that way and just saw blade them to death. And then you've got bloody Reaper, who'll have a bloody shield, which gives him more hit points than the telescopic arm. So he can just move there, tank whatever hits he can get, and then just grab those 2 victory points just straight up while firing his own shots left, right, and center. And as a result, it's chaotic, but it's all player driven. It's all pretty damn fair, because all the modules are just relatively good. You're not going to get a bad module out of the lot. And it is an absolute ton of fun. Massive amounts of fun. And I enjoy the hell out of Volt. And which is why I'm actually kind of disappointed in it for a couple of reasons. One is that I got it for really cheap. Everywhere has got this game on massive deep discount. And it has been for like the 3 months that I've owned it, and I don't know why. I don't know what happened there, but it's kind of disappointing. Also of note, there's a 4-player mode, obviously, And that is really what the game is designed around. The game does have what they call AI kill bots, where they've got very specific ideas about how to move and shoot, and they're all based on dice rolls. So it makes things not particularly great. They're basically just meant to be extra obstacles that you can fight off while you're fighting against another player. And the game is really at its best when you've got 4 players, each with their own modules, just causing some absolute chaos on the battlefield. So, yeah, it's not a game that you should buy if you can't play it with 4 people, because that's really where it shines. With that said, though, this game really does shine bright. I've got this as like one of the few underrated games on Board Game Geek. I rated it an 8 out of 10. And I really do think it deserves that. It's in like the high 6s right now, and I really think it deserves higher than that. If you're a fan of real-time games, if you're a fan of programming, and if you're a fan of doing all of this under pressure, then yeah, I wholeheartedly recommend Vault. Although you probably don't want to play it if playing real-time games or trying to beat other people at their own game faster than them makes you a bit nervous. With that said, this has been Blue Maxima. I'll see you all next time.